Alright, welcome back to our final day of our softcore run. I've got the spreadsheet open here for the polls that we're projecting, and we may have to adjust a little bit as we go, but our goal here first is going to be to hit level 2 as quickly as we can. So we do need one gate key still, so we'll take that first, and we need to put on the ring of detect boring doors before we do that, of course. And then we'll let the daily dungeon run itself. And we're going to want to switch to our leprechaun for a little bit here, just to try to level it up a bit before we get to the nun meat quest. Right, and then get the Friar's Blessing. And let's go ahead and grab that Sneaky Pete's key. And then get that filthy ring back off. Alright, so we have... Let's actually just get the guide open so it can tell us. We have about 400 substats we're going to need to hit level 12. 428 actually. So we may as well pull some cornucopias real quick. And I was projecting that we're probably going to try just pulling 3. And we have 2 in storage, so let's just deal with those first. And then we'll make a gravy boat, just 1. And we'll go ahead and make stuffing fluffers out of the other 2. Alright, so then we'll put on the gravy boat. And let's head into the crypt. We're going to hit the niche first. And we'll want to banish the slick lick if we get it. If you have olfaction, go ahead and use that on the dirty old lick. And we don't actually have anything to banish this one just yet because we don't have enough fury to do so. So we're gonna have to actually just deal with him for the moment. The dirty old lick is the one we want. And putting on that gravy boat, if you don't already know, gravy boat makes you clear more evilness per turn, and I'll show you real quick here with the dirty old lick. So we're at 192. We kill him and we drop by 4. And if you read here, it says, after you defeat him, your evil-o-meter beeps 3 times. Some gravy sloshes out of your hat and douses some extra evil. So normally he would have been 3 beeps on there, 3 ticks down. The gravy boat gives us 1 more per combat. So it's not a huge amount, but it does add up pretty quickly. So even this guy that we're wasting our time on is still giving us 2 ticks instead of just 1. Alright, so we should be getting the boss after this next combat. Alright, boss is up next. And that didn't quite get us to level 12. Let's go ahead and go bust a ghost in the Haunted Conservatory. Alright. we'll do the alcove. So the alcove, the fat zombie and the other one, whatever he's called, grave robbing zombie, something like that, they both only give you 1 tick per, but if you have the gravy boat, of course you get 2. But the modern zombie gives you more, and that's one we want to encounter there. So you'll want to boost your initiative, and we'll have to actually check our mood here. We'll get rid of that one. So use the modifier maximizer, of course. And ideally you want to get to 850% initiative. That's probably not doable for the most part, so just do what you can. Don't swap your hat out though, because you want the gravy boat so that you get the extra evilness removed per combat. Alright, so you can see we're at 146, so fighting the modern zombie takes us down to 140. So that's 5 ticks plus the 1 extra for the gravy boat. So higher your initiative, the more modern zombies you're going to encounter. So you want to boost that up as much as you can. And we just hit level 12. We'll clear out this part of the crypt real quick first. And I'm actually just going to set Mafia for 5 turns and let it rip. Alright, there we go. So, visit the council and get the quest. Swap out your gear for the Frat Warrior fatigues. And you'll want to improve your non-combats. Get that as low as you can. Alright, I'm just going to leave it at the -20 for the moment and just hope that we do okay that way. Hit the hippie camp, and we're looking for the non-combat that gives us the chance to go to the lookout tower. And we got that our second try, so that was nice. So hit that. Go to the arena first. Swap our mood out for our plus combat mood. And then we're going to pull a lion musk should do it, but let's just see what the maximizer says. Okay, so the lion musk is going to give us plus 15 to our encounters. We're already at plus 10, so that's going to be a pretty big help. So we'll pull that. It looks like it was about 5,000 meat. That's going to put us at plus 25%. And it looks like okay, looks like that should be good. How many turns did that give us? 20 turns of it. So we should pretty easily get 5 lobster frogmen in 20 turns with plus 25, but you never know. Make sure you don't get killed and flyer the lobster frogmen while we're here. In fact, we're going to be flyering every combat until we get 100% advertisement. If you're using WHAM as your combat script, it's going to flyer for you, so you don't have to worry about it You just have to not die. And there is number 4. Of course, if you have a way to copy or repeat fights like a time spinner, you want to feel free to take advantage of that. Alright, there's our 5th one. And as you can see, we only took 10 turns to get that. So, and that's just on a softcore character without very many skills. So, definitely doable to do that. Alright, so now we'll want to finish up the crypt quest. And so to do that, we'll want to increase our monster level as much as we can first. Switch back to our regular mood. And we have 10 turns of that lion and ambush that we need to burn. So we'll head over here and we'll do the defiled nook. You may want to switch to a item drop familiar first. And what we're looking for here is anytime you get an evil eye dropped from one of these guys, you want to use it right away. That's going to reduce the evilness by an extra 3 points. So you can see these guys were getting 2 points per because we were using the gravy boat. And then we used the evil eye, that takes another 3. So potentially, from a combat, if you get an evil eye drop, you could do overall 5 evilness drop, which could potentially get you through this part of the crypt pretty quickly. Continuing to flyer through the whole thing. We should also be picking up the ingredients to make the skeleton key during this part. So we'll want to make sure that we assemble that shortly here so that we don't forget. Alright, so if this guy... Here we go, we got the boss. And we still have 1 single turn of lion and ambush. Alright, so here in the cranny, what we're looking for is the non-combat adventure here. And when you get that, you want to open the rattling drawer that's full of the swarm of ghoul whelps. The higher your monster level, this one right here, open the rattling one. The higher your monster level, the more ticks of evilness it will remove. So we're at 46. We're at 104 monster level. And you want to flyer these things as well. And that took us down to 34. So it took about 12 points. So that's 11 plus the one from the gravy boat. So basically, getting that non-combat twice could finish this whole area of the crypt. So if you have stench jelly, that could be an option there to help you speed through that part. Alright, next we'll hit the Boner Dagon. Now just remember, if you try to flyer here, the Boner Dagon can block your attacks or keep you from using items. So if you aren't able to use that flyer successfully the first time, go ahead and try doing it again while you're fighting, so you're not wasting that combat. So let's get that gravy boat hat off. And just re-equip your regular standard stuff. I'm going to switch back to the leprechaun for now. Alright, now we're going to pull a couple of stone wool. You could pull 3 if you want to get the extra few adventures, but overall I don't think it's worth it because we're using a pull. We could pull 1 later on if we need to, for whatever reason, get those other 3 adventures, but I'd rather just save the pull. So get a couple stone wool, use the first one, and that's going to give you the stone-faced effect. Then head to the Hidden Temple, and the first time you need to get the nostril of the serpent. We'll do that by exploring the higher levels and then climbing down some vines. Mafia is going to give you this handy little link here that says stone wool. That's going to give you the effect right away, and a link to go back to the Hidden Temple. This time we're going to poke around the ground floor, then go down the stairs and pick the guy with the lightning tail, and then go through his door, which is going to be 3 adventures total, so make sure you have enough here. Raise your hands up, continue down the corridor, spell bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S, then do nothing. Go to the Hidden City, hit the Hidden Park. We're looking for a non-combat here, so you want your encounters to be as low as possible. Again, using Stench Jelly could be an option if you have access to that. And hopefully we'll get the dumpster adventure pretty soon here. If we don't, we're going to be getting the machete pretty quickly. A couple more turns, so alright. Let's just do a couple more turns there to try to get that dumpster adventure to relocate the janitors. Okay. So we need to open up each part of the Hidden City, and to do that we have to visit each of the shrines. What you want to do first is equip that antique machete, and when you equip that, now you can go to the shrine, and each adventure isn't going to actually cost you an adventure until you get the final one to place your head in the impression. So what we can do, first we'll set our mood to apathetic so we don't cast MP to try to restore our mood, is we're just going to let Mafia run them, and you want to do the ziggurat too to unlock that part, and just go through each shrine. Since the turns don't cost anything except for the final one, Mafia will just run it until it's done. Alright, and there we go. Put your meat tenderizer back on. And then let's go to the hidden apartment building first. First time you get the lawyer, use a rock flyer and then batter up. We don't have enough MP to use Snoke Bomb. Alright. We're gonna purchase and use one banish here. Saving, the reason why I'm not doing the stench jelly is because we do have 2 astral energy drinks, and I'm saving the spleen space in case we have to use both of those with the help of a mojo filter. Alright, so we got 2 accountants so far, so I'm just going to shift over to the office building instead. Okay, let's just use the banisher now. And alright. So since we already have 2 files, and we just got rid of that janitor. We should get the other 3 files before we get the second non-combat here. Okay, we're gonna have to switch back to our barrel for the time being. Keep in mind, the higher your monster level, the faster that you will get that advertisement for the flyers done. Alright, so we need one more file. And we have 2 turns until we get that next non-combat. There we go. Alright, so once you have all 5, you want to use the boring binder clip to make the complete file. Mafia will do it for you once you have all the necessary components there. So we should be getting the non-combat next turn, and this time we want to knock on the boss's office door and then destroy the ancient protector spirit. Use the sphere. Alright, head back to the apartment building. And we have 3 turns till we get the non-combat. So we need to encounter the shaman twice. So I'm going to just banish that accountant. And there we go. Restore our HP before the next turn. And there we go. Alright, so we've got our advertisement complete. And we actually only did half of the hidden city and most of the crypt, and that's it. That was enough to do all of our advertisements. So as you can see, it's not necessary to waste any turns doing that at all by doing the guy made of bees or anything like that. You can just do it through your quests. So let's go ahead and just finish up the war. Alright, so we got the magnet. We want to head over to the barrel, and if you don't already know, you need to encounter the correct gremlin for each zone. So for this zone, it's the bat-winged gremlin, and you don't want to hit him at all. You just want to keep him basically in stasis by using something that doesn't hurt him until you find out whether he has that weapon or the tool or not. So if you get a specific message, and Mafia will tell you when this happens, that's going to tell you that one doesn't have the tool. So for the bat-winged gremlin, it's the dive bomb over your head. If we get that, then he does not have the hammer. If he whips out the hammer, then you want to use the magnet, and Mafia will highlight that for us so that we can see it easily. And so what I do is, as you can see, I just feng sling dictionary and magnet, and then I can just keep spamming that button until I find out whether he's got it or not. So this area here, we need the intelligent gremlin that likes to insult you, not the spider gremlin. So you can try banishing these guys if you wish. I'm not going to do that though. Head over to the fridge. This one we want the spider gremlin. And if the gremlin says that it bites you in the fibula with its mandibles or something along those lines, then it doesn't have the pliers. Okay, so did you see it? It bites you in the fibula with its mandibles. The pain is far from nebulous. So it does not have the pliers that we need. So just do a lunging thrust smack or whatever to kill it, and try again with the next one. And that one gives it 2, because of course. There we go, we got the pliers. Alright, the last zone we need to go to is the rusted out car, and this one we need the vegetable gremlin. This one has 2 different potential messages that will say it doesn't have the tool. Is dropping a beet is the first one. And as you can see there, it picks off a beet and beats you with it. You wish it would have let the beet drop instead. And then the other one's a radish. It gives you the message about the radish. It does not have the screwdriver. And this can take quite a few turns, or rounds sometimes rather. This time we got it on round 9, so that's not too bad. So we've got all 4 tools. Head back over to Yossarian, and we've got all the different side quests on the frat side done. Can't do the hippie ones until we unlock them. So what we're going to do first is we're going to use those 2 stuffing fluffers that we made earlier. And that should hopefully unlock the orchard for us. Alright, so grab the quest. And then for the orchard, we need to increase our item drops. So we're going to switch to our gravy fairy. And then we're going to go ahead and pull a Sacramento wine. And let's see, we were wanting to do 3 perfect old fashions and a hacked Gibson as well. So we may as well just pull these 2, or just one of them rather. Alright, and then we need to unaffect one of our songs. Okay, yeah, we didn't actually reset our mood back, so that's fine. We'll cast Ode. Use the Sacramento wine, and that should take our item drops up by 50%. And then we'll use that hacked Gibson. And for this area here, you don't have to keep the Frat Warrior fatigues on, so you can equip other stuff if it will increase your item drops. So we'll actually go ahead and just use the maximizer, equip that, cast Leash, and we're at 242, which is not great, but hopefully enough. Let's see, what does it suggest? It's actually not giving us suggestions. Okay, so the point is here, we want to get the gland, the stench gland. And once you get the stench gland and you use it, it's going to give you 10 turns of the effect of the particular stench that you need. So we got a gland here, we use it. We're going to get filthworm larva stench, and that allows us to now access the feeding chamber here. We can't go to the guards chamber yet. We need a gland from the feeding chamber first. So we've got 10 turns to try to get that gland here until that stench runs out. If it runs out, we got to go all the way back to the first chamber and start over. So you want to be very careful here. Okay, we got our filthworm drone scent gland, so that opens up the guards chamber. And if we get to 9 turns here and we still don't have it, okay, we did get it. If we had gotten to 9 turns and we still didn't have the next gland, we would want to take drastic action. So in this case, I would disintegrate him and make sure that we are guaranteed it, that gland, and then use it. But we got it, so we don't have to use our disintegrate yet. Alright, so once you got the heart of the filthworm queen, you need to put your Frat Warrior fatigues back on. And then go to the stand and turn in that quest. Visit the stand a second time to pick up 4,000 or so meat. Alright, now we have a couple choices here. We can adventure for 7 turns to open up the nuns, the nunnery, or if we pull one more cornucopia, that might be enough stuffing fluffers from that to open it up now, and that'll save us 7 turns. So we'll buy one, and we'll pull one. Theoretically, we could actually pull a whole buttload of them and not have to spend hardly any turns on the war, but we do need to still get the rest of our food and drink. Alright, so we'll create and use a stuffing fluffer, and that's probably only going to give us 40 more, roughly. Okay, so yeah, 114. Alright, so let's actually just leave that for the moment. We pulled our hacked Gibson. We're going to want to pull a jumping horseradish for the nun meat quest, as well as the half a purse and the ISO Vapo hotness inhaler. And then with our old fashions, that's going to use up most of the rest of our pulls here. So we want to keep ideally one of those open so that we can pull something if we need to for the contest. So we could probably hold off on pulling our booze and make it till we break the prism, and then we wouldn't need those. Alright, so let's see if we have the half a purse. Pull one of those. Pull the inhaler. And we just want to make sure we still have Smithsness going. Okay. We'll do one more cornucopia. And let's see where that gets us. We may end up having to pull one more after that still. Really? That only gave us 2 cashews. That's terribly unfortunate. Not the word that I would have used, but let's use those. Okay, and then let's just mark that down. Alright. There we go. That's enough to open up the nunnery. And you can see here, initially it's going to project 56 to 84 turns in order to clear that out. We're going to swap to our leprechaun. And for this one, you do have to keep the fatigues on, so you can't swap out other stuff for that. So put on your half a purse. We've finished the flyer quest, so we have a meat buff there, getting Winklered. And then use the inhaler and cast Polka Aplenty. And looks like we have just enough stuff to eat something to get Thanksgiving. We could do that for another 44%. But let's see where we're at so far. So it's projecting 14 to 21 turns. But keep in mind that inhaler is only going to last for 10. So once we got the first 10 out of the way, it's going to be a little bit more than that. So we may as well... Oh yeah, we still got to pull that jumping horseradish. And we don't have one. Alright. So we're at 520 for meat. Use that. That takes us up to 620. That brings us down to 12 to 18 projected. And we actually don't need that gravy boat anymore. So let's go ahead and just eat some warm gravy. And that's going to up it just a little bit more to 700. Alright, so we're projected at 11 to 16 turns to get the nun meat all recovered. Alright, so add Polka to our mood just to be safe. And then let's hit the hills. And as you can see, the very first one here, we got 7,000 meat. So we got 92, almost 93,000 left. That's 10 to 15 turns projected. You can let Mafia run it if you want. It's a little bit risky though. You might get beaten up. Make sure that you're keeping an eye on that. Keep in mind that we're using our Leprechaun right now, not our barrel, so we're not getting the regen that we normally would. So you want to be extra careful. Wasting a turn here is very bad. If you watch the CLI, it will tell you how many turns you have left if you can catch it in time. And we're looking at 6 to 9 turns left. We have 4 turns left of Sinuses for Miles from the inhaler. So let's restore. And we'll do another 5 here. Alright, so obviously if you're doing standard, it's going to be a little bit different because you can't use the half a purse. But that was only about 70% to meet, I think. And that wouldn't have been a huge difference. The other pulls definitely make the non-meat quest fairly easy, even if you don't have all the fancy toys. Alright, 2 to 3 more turns. Looks like it's going to end up being 3 turns total. Alright, so there you go. Non-meat quest in 14 turns without a bunch of shiny items of the month. So it's not too hard to do, you just got to plan ahead. So once you're done with that, swap out your purse and your Leprechaun back for what you had before. And we're not going to do the farm because it's a waste of time. It's going to take at least 25 turns even if we do the shortcut. And you'll notice, as the guide points out, we only have 26 turns left to finish the whole war. So it doesn't make any sense to do the farm unless you're trying to get a specific medal for the war. So what you'll want to do is just do your first turn on the battlefield. We haven't done any turns on the battlefield yet, so that's our first one. Set it for 26 and let it go. And make sure you don't get beaten up while that runs. Alright, so it's been running and we're not getting beaten up yet. We just have a few more turns left until all the hippies are cleared out. And then we'll pick it up once that happens. Alright, there we go. Mafia warns us there's no hippie soldiers left. So before we fight the guy, we want to turn in all this crap we got from fighting the hippies. You can go and do this manually, or in Mafia you can click the little coin icon here and visit the quartermaster. And what you'll want to do is keep the fire poi, keep the Gaia beads, keep the lock and stock sandals, and if you get round green sunglasses, keep those too. Flowing hippie skirt maybe. The rest of it, just sell them all. And the reason why we're keeping these, and we can actually sell one of those fire poi, we only need one because it's a two-handed weapon. The reason we're keeping these is for the elemental test when we get to the sorceress's lair. The Gaia beads and lock and stock sandals do stench damage, so that's going to help if the elemental test is stench. Fire poi, believe it or not, does fire damage. Imagine that. So that can help if the elemental test is fire. So once all that stuff is sold, you're going to buy some gauze garters. There's a few other things here you could buy if you think you might need them. Kick-ass kicks do sleaze damage. Beer bong, I think, does stench. If you have enough quarters, you could buy that stuff too. But the gauze garters we're going to need for the shadow. Make sure that you have your recovery set to not use those. And as you can see, that's actually checked right here. So that would have been horrible if we got to the shadow and we realized we had no gauze garters because we used them to heal. Yeah, very annoying when that happens. So make sure that that's not checked under recovery. That's on your HP MP usage tab here. where it lists all the different things you can use for restores. Make sure Gauze Garter, and if you're doing the Filthy Hippie route, then have the Filthy Poultice unchecked. Alright, so with that out of the way, restore your HP, and then head over to the Hippie Camp. Mafio's going to warn you, go buy your stuff first. But we already did that. Oh, it's already been brought in. We're going to fight the big Wisniewski. You could probably let Wham just do it, and Wham should kill him. Well, actually, you just defeat him, and then he blows himself up, because, you know, he's kind of a moron. You're going to get the solid gold bowling ball. Go visit the council. And we're almost there. We just have the hidden city left, and then we have to finish the pyramid, and then we can do the sorceress's lair. So at this point, we're going to just take a quick break here, and then we'll pick this up in part 2 while we finish up this run. So I'll see you guys in just a little bit.